Welcome aboard everyone, Simon here from the Wells of Wall Street. Today's video, MTV MultiVac. So we have a quick update video here for the chart and also some interesting bits of information coming very soon. Of course, the 29th of November, I believe, is the date. This indicates when the smart contracts aspect from the mainnet using MRC20, if I'm not mistaken, utilization to formulate these smart contracts launching on the MultiVac sharding chain. Guys, this is a big opportunity for MTV, I think, in terms of price movements on the chart, but also just generally as a project. I think this is what's going to start making MTV become perhaps a bit more of a powerhouse in terms of everyone's mindset, and getting into more and more people's portfolios, in my opinion. So these developments are going to take a big part in progressing MTV's both its roadmap and also, I'm sure, its awareness across the board. So guys, a few things I just wanted to point out as well. Do check this website out. It's quite cool. Certic. It's like a kind of like well, I guess it's kind of in the name actually. It's kind of certifies projects. You can get quite a lot of data out of this. I'm sure you have to pay for extra bits if you want them, but it's quite good because it's got a little security score here. It mentions anything that's perhaps gone wrong with the chain, and how they've resolved it, or whether they've resolved it yet or not. Don't get too worried if it hasn't been resolved. Usually it's done within like a few days, so it just depends on like how long ago that was. Okay, so just keep an eye on that because it is very interesting. But I quite like this site. But anyway, you can find out loads of different data. But I was quite interested here, top 100 token holders. Now, usually, in the grand scheme of things, when you have developers and creators of these kind of projects, they tend to obviously have majority holdings. Now, this is quite interesting. So obviously, I'm going to envision that probably at least the top 5, if not maybe a few more, but certainly the top 5 are probably people who work at MultiVac, who are clearly holding big bags. Now, of course, within internally, I'm sure they have kind of like lock-in periods or perhaps a mechanism to suggest that they can't just go and dump all of these things straight away. I don't really know the ins and outs, from a legal perspective, whether that's possible or not. But of course, they could, sell them as and when they wanted to, in maybe smaller chunks, because of course that could do some severe damage to price points. But it is of interest to bring this point to the attention, of course, because we're talking about a magnificent number here, just even in the top 5 we'll focus on. I mean, what's that? That's like, what, 7, 8, maybe 9 billion or so tokens, and value at the moment, of course, with MTV being the price that is now, which I think is around 2 cents. We'll go into the chart in a second. But from that point of perspective is, if we do get to 10 cents or 30 cents or whatever it is this bull run, these numbers are going to be very, very significant. And of course, as mentioned, could have a unique differentiation in the price charts if many were to sell these kind of levels. So something to bear in mind for the future for sure. But of course, the number of holders is increasing day by day. It's showing the power of MTV, and its awareness is clearly gauging the eyes and interest from many people out there, including ourselves quite recently, to be honest, compared to, I'm sure, a lot of you out there that have perhaps been in it very early. There's a multitude of channels that have been talking about this for months. I just didn't have the time or the capacity to add more to my portfolio at the time, but here I am. I've had it for a couple of months or so now, had some fantastic gains already, and I'm looking forward to the remainder of this year, and especially around this mainnet, next stage development in the mainnet for MultiVac. So there's clearly lots going on here, and I'm really looking forward to it. And look at that, how much is staked right now what's that, 3.2 billion. That is absolutely incredible. And just from that perspective, guys, by the way, you can go onto their website and check the staking mechanism, how to do that. And we're on goal, is it 7 now, I think? So yeah, they're about to probably finish this off soon. So we're not quite there at the full capacity of the 4 billion yet for that bootstrap reward. So that's the reward percentage of 5% here. And you've also got the 16.10% current APR as well. So loads going on with MultiVac, loads of opportunities. I'm not staking yet. I probably will, obviously, in the winter market and the bear markets. But right now I'm holding it in the exchange, just to take advantage of potential trades in the future. So I think as the months go on, especially in the next few months, we're going to see some really good movements from MultiVac, not just from the roadmap, but I think just the general organic aspect of the way the chart's going at the moment, especially into December, and of course the general conversation around bull runs as well. So do keep an eye on this. If you're not invested in MultiVac and you want to know more, go check out our intro videos to this project, which we'll leave at the end of this one, and you might see it up on your screen right now as well. But stick with us. Let's jump into the chart before we lose you all to those links. Do smash that like button if you like or hear what you're seeing, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And it's great to hear as well in the comments where you're listening from around the world, but also let us know how you listen to us. We're always trying to improve the channel. We had some comments recently today, people actually listen to us in the car, so I'm trying to maybe be a bit more audible, not just focus on visual aspects, or at least try and explain what we're watching or looking at a bit more detail for those that are listening for whatever reason, without the visuals. So hopefully you are enjoying the content however you are watching or listening around the world. So guys, look at this price chart right now. So we're at this 2 cent mark. Couple of days ago it was kind of argued that have we hit the bottom mark for this particular crypto asset in MTV, and we drew in this orange line previously. We didn't say that it was going to be fully accurate, but it was the impression that if we look at historic data of MTV, which isn't massive of course because it's not gigantically old, but we only have to go back to these sort of periods here around middle of April, and of course launch aspects when KuCoin hit back then. But I'm more interested in these capacities here because this was obviously an area of interest that we put in just to reflect on this previous resistance we had in April. And then if you look more at a macro level, as we tailed over those on a couple of occasions, we came back down, but look at it, it's like a magnet. It's like it's trying to pull us back here. We took the great move up to here for, what was it, 2.9 cents, just literally nearly pipped the 3 cent mark, not quite, but we got there. We've had the correction of profit taking. We had a few Bitcoin failures in leverages going on as well, which obviously reflected across the market. But in my opinion, MTV, to be fair, has been very solid throughout. It's a fantastic move. It's very gradual. It's very healthy. And it's defied really those Bitcoin nonsense days that I like to call them. So we've had the good pullbacks, we've had the jump back up. So we've hit this area again, and we've shown good positivity, similar to this point here, 13th, 14th September. Here, 28th of September, dipped down on the 8th of October as well, and they've all pulled back to this area here. So currently floating around this 2 cent mark on the macro fib retracement we got here, which is very much bang on right now. So we're very much looking at the moment over the next couple of days trying to get a close over this line. I'm just going to pull this up before we go into the indicators. So we're still in a bearish momentum. Hopefully you can see this. We've got the blue part of the aspect here as well, so the 12 and 26 MACD. So we've got very much of course this nice little tail up that we saw on the chart just a second ago over the last 2-3 days. It's pulling it back as if we want to cross back over into more of a bullish momentum. Now we're seeing also a phase off here in the sort of like a pinkish red color. So this is the histogram showing us that the essentially the overselling aspect that we've seen here, very much the top end, is slowly reducing. Now I'm not going to get too excited yet because you could have argued that this was going to happen around here as well, but we had the extra taken. So there's very much around us checking what other things are doing, especially Bitcoin's movements, to see where we are reflecting upon on this. So it's looking good. so far in its movement. We had the RSI coming down here. This is a 14-day RSI, by the way, and this is just my particular setting. I like to try and visualize things every 2 weeks. What I will probably do in the next video is perhaps put a longer term RSI in here, perhaps a 28-day or a 30-day one. But for me, this is okay because it means that to be fair, like I did a couple of days ago, I bought in the dip. The RSI was nice and low. Of course, it could have been a bit lower in my opinion, but that's okay. I tend to use like 40 as a general sort of area to take advantage of when I'm looking at the RSI and the charts. So this means that as we tail up, of course, getting from 34, 35 to 48 is fantastic, but when it gets to sort of 70 and 80, already automatically within that period of time, you're looking at essentially a move that's kind of doubled your money, if you like. So it gives me a good indicator on the short term as to potential profit taking if I wanted to do that. So that's why I've got that in there. But back to this MACD here. So yeah, it's narrowing. We've had this nice move the last couple of days. I think personally this is just slightly to do with the announcement of the 29th of November being the date where supposedly the MRC20 launches alongside the smart contracts. And we see this quite similarly with Cardano. If you remember, I think it was October or something, September, October, when they had the contract launch announcements. You had the nice tail up a few days before, or certainly a week before, and then literally instantly within the day of it happening, it did a bit of a flop. So it's that whole kind of like buy the rumors, sell the news aspect. Now I'm not saying that that's going to repeat itself, but I do believe, in my opinion, the last few days have been very much revolving around that. And of course there is the aspect of as well that we had the tail down, and it's natural for people to start buying back in, because I do think that's a very sweet point around that 1.5 cent, as we've mentioned with these drop downs here. And naturally you're going to see people jumping in because of the resistance at this level. Obviously a lot of people maybe have invested a lot of money into MTV so far. They obviously don't want it to drop down too much, because then they'll start perhaps losing the their intake levels of when they maybe entered, particularly recently. But we've got to look at the indicators here on the right hand side as well, guys. So we are down 6% on the week, which is is what it is. But the stronger elements for me, of course, the year in general, year to date, 8,139% up. That's absolutely amazing. We always mention this in every video. Do let us know when you entered in with MTV, at what price point. Don't need to know how many you've got. We don't need to know that. And please don't throw things like that out in the public, because it makes you a target to hackers and the usual nonsense scammers. So just let us know the price point you got in. I'm really interested to know. And also 6 months being positive as well, and that's very good actually, because a lot of charts tend to be quite negative on that aspect, or certainly in a smaller percentage. This has shown very, very good strength, because a lot had the big intake earlier in the year. They had the big drop, and that usually entails within this 6 months, as we probably get the tail end of it now, because what was it, June? Can't believe, guys, we're nearly in December. That is crazy. Cannot believe that. But here we are around this 2 cent mark. As I said, I think the next couple of days are going to be really interesting for MTV to see if we can maintain support here. If we maintain support here, we could start pushing this back up again like we did here, perhaps to these levels back again, 2.7, maybe even attack that 3 cents as we come towards that 29th of November mark. So I do think as awareness comes out and more people are aware of the exact dates, I think this could start tailing up a bit more and pulling that MACD into a bit more of a narrower line, as well as trying to cross it over as well. So let's see how that plays out. We'll do another MTV video probably Tuesday or Wednesday this week. We'll see how this plays out, but that's my thoughts on this. I think we've had the nice drop down already. There is obviously an argument to say that we could come back down there, but I think in general we've played this out quite nicely in my opinion, and I think we will start tailing this back up. Let us know what you think about that in the comments below, and please do always tell us what your price prediction is, both for the end of the year and the bull run in general as well. We're sticking with 27 cents for the end of the bull run. Someone asked the other day what our end of year prediction is. Well, actually I'm going with literally around that 10 cent mark for the end of year. Okay, some people might think that's under under the belt. But I think that's pretty comfortable, and I do think the bull run's going to certainly extend into next year, perhaps maybe to March, around that March time possibly. So I think there's plenty of room in the tank to try and get us to that 27 cents. Some people shouting out like $1 and a bit, and like 70-80 cents. I think that's quite far-fetched. We've got a lot of volume to kick in, and you've got, to get to those levels, and I just don't think we're quite ready yet. But who knows in this space, guys? Who knows? I would love it. I would absolutely love it if it got to $1. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to put a dampener on that, but I'm being realistic as well. So guys, thank you very much for watching. We will update you on MTV in the next couple of days. Until then, we'll see you in the next MTV video. Take care, guys. Bye bye.